guys, and welcome back to today's self-care Sunday video. So for today's video I thought I would share with you the things I carry around as an anxiety toolkit. I suffer quite badly with anxiety. I have done for quite a while. Over the past few years I feel like I have developed a few strategies to help me and a few things that I always carry in my bag, just for if a moment of panic or a panic attack comes, I can deal with it a little bit more than if I didn't have these things. So now I'm not saying that these are a magic cure for anxiety, because believe me, they're not, but these are just some things to help me feel less anxious. So the first thing is this little bag, which I always have in my handbag. So the first thing in it is an inhaler, because I am asthmatic, so when I get a panic attack and I find my breathing really difficult, it affects my asthma, so I always carry my inhaler just because it helps to regulate my breathing back to normal. The next thing I carry is strepsils, because having anxiety, for me, it really affects my throat. My throat closes up, it gets really dry and really itchy, and like it just feels like I can't breathe through my throat. So lozenges always really help, just to focus on the sucking of the lozenge, and it just helps to moisturize my throat again and just make my throat hurt less. So yeah. The next thing I always carry with me is some Calm. Now, I don't use Calms as much as I used to. When I first started suffering with anxiety, I lived off Calms and Rescue Remedy. However, I am starting to wean myself off them because I think it got a bit of a habit. So yeah, I only take Calms when I am desperately in need of just a little bit of help to relax a little bit if I'm really tense, or if I'm getting myself really worked up. It just helps me to just calm down a little bit. So the next thing in this little pouch is some Rescue Remedy. Now, I use the chewing gum. Personally, it's just my favourite thing from the range, and it just helps me the most. I find chewing gum is a really good distraction technique for me, so it doesn't just have to be Rescue Remedy, but I do find the flower essences in it do soothe me a little bit more than regular chewing gum. But I mean, if I've run out of this and I've only got regular chewing gum, I'm not going to be fussy. So yeah, each bit of chewing gum has 4 drops of the flower essence in it, which is quite a huge amount compared to when you use the drops by itself. You're only supposed to use like 2 or 3, so there is a lot more in these, and these are like $4.99 from Boots and Superdrug, but they're quite often on 3 for 2, so I always buy them on 3 for 2 because you get more for your money. You get 25 pieces in a pack, and I always have these lying around everywhere. I quite often have one in my coat pocket, in my car, in every handbag, one in my bedside table, just so wherever I am, if I'm feeling anxious, I can just have a bit of chewing gum and I know I've got some. To be honest, half the time I don't even use it, it's just knowing I've got it with me if I need it. The next thing in here is some essential oil. Now, the one I use is the lavender one, pure lavender oil. I use this at night in my diffuser, so it reminds me of my calmness when I'm doing my daily calm, some meditation or some yoga. So yeah, that really helps. I just put a little bit on my pressure points, on my wrist, on my neck, so I can smell it. It just instantly helps to calm me down. So the next few bits in here are actually food bits, because when I'm anxious I don't eat. So once the panic attack has sort of subsided a bit, I need a bit of a sugar boost, because I always feel a bit like, sometimes I feel quite faint as well, so I like to keep some little mini chocolates just to give me a little sugar boost. Now, I never eat too much because it does make me feel nauseous when I'm anxious, so I never eat something too heavy. But I also keep the apple and pear fruit bars from Aldi in here just because it's nice healthy boost, but it also gives me a bit of sugar. The next thing I always keep is some headphones, because I like to listen to music to calm me down, and I just find once I put my headphones in, put my music up full blast, and it just helps me to really zone out. I also use these to use the Calm app when I'm out and about, which I will show you guys now. So the Calm app is just this app right here, and it says take a deep breath. Ooh, very loud. And I just like to use the meditate section if I'm really anxious. So I like to do the 7 days of calming anxiety. So I do like a body scan, I use some music, or a sleep story if I'm really distressed. I just find that really helps. Another thing on my phone that I have is Song Pop. It's a game, and also 8 Ball Pool and Colour Road. These 3 games really help me. as they distract me a lot, so I can focus on the game and not on the anxiety attack. Highly recommend checking them out. The next thing I always carry is a bottle of water in my handbag, in my car, everywhere I go basically, just because it really helps me. I get my dry throat or I just feel a little bit on edge, I just have a bit of water and it just helps calm me down a little bit. The next thing I always carry is some hydrating face mist. This is just the vitamin E one, just because the cool sensation when you spray it on your face just seems to calm me down, and again it smells really nice, so it really helps just to bring me back to that. The next thing I always carry is a Mitchum deodorant, because this is the only deodorant I can use. I always carry this around with me because when I'm anxious or having a panic attack, I get really hot and sweaty, and there's nothing worse than being sat there and you can feel your pits sweating, so I always carry this. And then the last two things are, I always carry a book around with me, and the books I tend to carry around with me are anxiety related books, as I just feel like that way they're more calming and I can get lost in the story and read the book and it just brings me back down to life, because when I get so anxious, I get so caught up in this anxiety that I forget that other people experience it too. The last thing is a colouring book and some crayons, because I find colouring's really good for mindfulness, and mindfulness is something I like to incorporate into every day, just because when I have a panic attack I can use mindfulness as a distraction technique and it works. It's one of those things that it can take quite a while to practice and to get into a habit of doing. Once you do, honestly, it makes a huge difference. So I just carry this little pot of pencils from Tiger. And this adult colouring book, I don't actually know where it's from, but you can get them everywhere. And this one has a word search on one side and a colouring on the other side. So as you can see, I've done some word searches and stuff. And I used to use this a lot when I was at college. I do this on my dinner break or in my break times, just if I was feeling really anxious, because it just brings you back down and it brings you back to a calm state. Because if you practice doing mindfulness, so like your karma, your colouring, your reading, all these mindfulness techniques, if you practice these at night when you're in a calm, relaxed state, maybe with a candle on or something, and you practice doing this every single day, it will eventually just become part of the routine, and you will then be able to incorporate it into everyday life to help with these panic attacks, because you'll have already practiced it, it already calms you down, and it reminds your brain to stimulate that calm hormone. Like I say, I'm not an expert in anxiety, this is just what helps me, and personally over the last few years this is what I've learned to carry around with me to help me in these certain circumstances, because anxiety can be a very scary thing, and when you're having a panic attack or you are anxious, you don't in a positive way, you think in quite a negative headspace, and so these things just really help to uplift me and bring me back to normality and remind me that I will be okay, I'm not going to die, and this anxiety is just temporary. It will go, it has before and it will again. So yeah, these are all the things that help me when I am feeling extra anxious or panic attack like. So I just carry these around on a day-to-day basis, and these really help me. I'd love to know what tips and techniques you carry around with you, or things you use to help you calm with your anxiety, because I'd love to know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Also, sorry if you can hear my mum hairdryer in her hair. Obviously she didn't get the memo that I'm filming, so yeah. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!